Good morning, and welcome to the Freshman Day of Service and Convocation. Would you please rise for the academic procession with President Stephen Knapp, Provost Stephen Lerman, trustees, senior administrators, and members of the George Washington University faculty.
Please remain standing for our national anthem, sung by Ariel Kendall, a junior from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good morning and welcome. I'm Diane Martin, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. It is my pleasure to welcome you, the members of the class of 2016, to your Freshman Day of Service and Convocation. I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Stephen Lehrman. Dr. Lehrman is the Provost and Executive Vice President of the university. He oversees all the programs and offices associated with student life and learning. He serves as second in command at the university. He's also the Chief Academic Officer for our 10 colleges and schools. As such, the deans of those colleges and schools report directly to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Stephen Lehrman.
Thank you. Good morning, and let me greet you to this, your first academic ceremony in your life as a student here at George Washington University, and of course, to this, your freshman day of service. Today, in some ways, you officially become part of a tradition that goes back over 190 years when the George Washington University was established in the memory of our nation's first president. George Washington gave his entire adult life to public service, and as the first commander-in-chief of the Continental Army, and then as our nation's first elected leader, he served the country well into his old age. President Washington himself dreamed of a great national university here in the nation's capital. He saw it as a way to educate the citizen leaders of the country he had spent his whole life creating. He saw it as a vehicle to bring together young people from all the states and to create a new national identity, the identity of being Americans committed to service and to unity. Many of you probably heard me speak at Colonial Inauguration. When I spoke to you then, I encouraged you to challenge yourself by committing to a rigorous academic experience here at GW. Hope some of those words stuck with you, and many of you chose courses that do challenge you. But today, my message is about another aspect of your education. I'd like to talk a little about service learning and its significance in your GW experience. By service learning, we at GW mean the courses and experiences that bring classroom learning together with service to the community. In service learning, you combine what you learn in the classroom with actions in your community, helping people and solving real-world problems. We have a number of opportunities to do that here at GW. One of the signatures of being a GW student is the commitment you have and you and your fellow students have to being of service and to using the knowledge that you gain here in your classrooms to better the lives of others. Some recent examples of service learning classes. These are courses designed to integrate service and learning. We have a course, Writing for Social Change. It's a first-year writing class, so presumably some of you are part of it. There, the students partner with community action groups to understand how the written word can inspire social change. We have a course, International Perspectives on Green Business. It was taught for the first time last spring, and in it, students learned about innovations in clean technology, and students help community groups in the DC area promote the uses of those technologies and other green practices to create a more sustainable urban environment. Another important service learning opportunity is made possible by a gift from our president and his wife, Stephen and Diane Knapp. And it's called the Stephen and Diane Robinson Knapp Fellowship for Entrepreneurial Service Learning, and it's now in its third year. Students who get these awards have done an amazing range of projects. A student developed a business plan for a cafe serving healthy, locally sourced foods to people in DC. Two business school students created a plan to offer training in financial literacy to Washington, D.C. residents to help them deal with the complexities of mortgage loans, credit card loans, and the other aspects of financial management that many of us, of course, take for granted. A public health student proposed a way to motivate people at outdoor events to recycle items, such as flyers and soda cans. We here at GW treasure those activities and all the many, many other activities that these are just examples of. Let me give some other examples of opportunities to engage in community service that you yourselves may want to take advantage of. The program DC Reads, the Neighbors Project. These are programs organized by the fraternities, sororities, and other interest groups here at GW. You can learn more about these and other programs at the Center for Student Engagement. These real-life experiences can help you put your classroom knowledge and skills into action to make the world a better place. So thank you for spending this day in community service. We hope this is the beginning of a long 4-year career here at GW in which you take what you have learned, take your energy and spirit, and apply it to use for the betterment of their fellow citizens. So now it's my honor to invite each of the deans of your schools who will personally welcome you here to GW. I first call to the podium Dean Peg Barrett, the Dean of Columbian College of Arts and Sciences.
Thank you very much, Provost Lerman. I am Peg Barrett, and I have the pleasure of inviting freshmen from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences, the oldest school of the university, and the heart and soul of the liberal arts, to please rise and remain standing.
Good morning. I am Dean David Darling. It's my pleasure to welcome freshmen from the School of Engineering and Applied Science. SEAS contributes to the worldwide knowledge explosion in engineering and technology and stands at the center of one of the world's largest and most comprehensive engineering and science regions. Would students from the School of Engineering and Applied Science please rise and remain standing?
Good morning. My name is Doug Guthrie. I'm the Dean of the School of Business here at the George Washington University. At the School of Business, we emphasize a deep connection between business and society and think deeply about issues like globalization and ethics. And we are at the forefront of the revolution for rethinking how business school education should be delivered in this country and throughout the world. Would the students from the School of Business please rise and remain standing?
Good morning. I am Mike Mochizuki, Associate Dean for Academic Programs at the Elliott School of International Affairs. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to invite freshmen to the Elliott School, the only school of international affairs located between the White House and the State Department, to rise and remain standing.
On behalf of Dean Lynn Goldman, it is my pleasure to welcome freshmen in the School of Public Health, the only school of public health in Washington, D.C., and one of only 3 schools of public health in the world having a Department of Exercise Science, to please rise and remain standing.
President Knapp, it's my honor and privilege to present to you the George Washington University's class of 2016. And now, please remain standing for the performance of the university's alma mater by Millicent Scarlett, a lecturer in the Department of Music. This will be followed by remarks from President Stephen Knapp. Ladies and gentlemen, Millicent Scarlett.
Would you please be seated and welcome the President of the George Washington University, Dr. Stephen Knapp.
Thank you. Thank you and welcome, class of 2016. This is our first chance to welcome you officially to this university. I also want to thank the university trustees, members of the faculty, and other distinguished guests who have joined us this morning. Class of 2016, you are arriving at a particularly exciting time in the history of our university. This year we're celebrating 100 years in this primary location, Foggy Bottom. Of course, now one of a number of different locations of our campuses, both here in Washington, D.C. and across the Commonwealth of Virginia. And of course, that celebration includes an opportunity to think about everything it means to be in and of this great capital city and the great capital region at which we reside. And in fact, you're going to be expressing that in just a little while by fanning out across all 8 wards of the District of Columbia to engage in the Freshman Day of Service. This is a remarkable century that's transpired since we first arrived in 1912 at this location in Foggy Bottom. At that time in 1912, the population of Washington, D.C. was approximately half its current size. Washington, D.C. was not really the kind of international cosmopolitan destination it is now. In fact, the monuments and museums that you enjoy as you go to the mall just a few blocks from here were largely non-existent. The Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial were not yet constructed. The Smithsonian was just a fraction of what it is today. We arrived here in Foggy Bottom in the same year that the cherry blossoms first came to Washington, D.C. as a gift from Tokyo to our capital city. And when we arrived, we were a much smaller institution. In fact, this was our 3rd location. We had been just above Florida Avenue, about a block wide and a half-mile long on what's now Meridian Hill, and then we moved down to the other side of Lafayette Square from where we are now. When we came here in 1912, we resided on a single strip of G Street across from what is now Tonic Restaurant and Quigley's Pharmacy. And the university only had about 1,000 students. Well, today we have some 25,000 students, 10,000 undergraduates, the rest of those graduate students, and of course we have added a number of colleges and programs that we've seen represented here today that were not part of the university in 1912. So we've been radically transformed as an institution, but one thing that's remained common throughout our history is we continue to give our students a front row seat at the theater of history. And that's another reason why this is going to be a particularly exciting year, because this is one of those years in which you will witness the events associated with a presidential election and then the presidential inauguration just a few months from now. The last time the inauguration took place on our campus, just 4 years ago, we had about 1 million people moving back and forth through our campus on their way to the celebrations on the National Mall. And of course, we had our own celebration in the form of the George Washington University's own inaugural ball. And you'll have an opportunity to participate in that once again this year. So this is going to be a very exciting year, and whatever your sympathies may be, whatever your political persuasion may be, I encourage you to take advantage of that excitement of being here during election year, and one of the most important ways you can do that and remain true to the vision that the Provost just spelled out, going all the way back to the founding vision of George Washington himself, is to participate as citizens. If you are U.S. citizens, from wherever you come to this university, I hope you'll find a way to vote either here or in your home districts. And of course, those of you who have joined us from around the world, we know that you come here with the same passion to make a difference in your nations and your communities. That's something we share, and the only difference between the values of this university when we first started and the idea was to train a citizen leadership for a new nation is we're now producing citizen leaders for the world, and you are all part of that. Now, the Provost commented on service learning. Service here takes many forms, and one kind of service that's been a hallmark of this institution has been military service, service in the defense of this nation. We express that today in our commitment to veterans, something that goes very far back in our history. The very first recipient of the GI Bill in 1943, Don Balfour, was a George Washington University student. Colin Powell, former Secretary of State and a general who was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is a distinguished George Washington University alumnus. And some of you, if you watched the Democratic Convention earlier this week, may have seen Tammy Duckworth, former Assistant Secretary for Public and Intergovernmental Affairs for the Department of Veteran Affairs, who is a George Washington alumna and is distinguished by the fact that she's actually a double amputee who tragically lost both her legs in 2004 in combat in Iraq. When the helicopter she was piloting was shot down, she continued to pilot the crew to safety in spite of her injuries. Today, we express a continuing commitment to all of our veterans. We were one of the first universities, and we're certainly the first in this region, to enroll Yellow Ribbon benefits recipients. These are student veterans who have served a certain amount of time in the combat zones overseas. And this year, we added 441 new Yellow Ribbon recipients. And since the inception of that program in 2009, almost 1,400 Yellow Ribbon recipients have come to the George Washington University. These are veteran students among us. We're very proud of them and the leadership they continue to provide, and some of them are going to be with you today as you go out on your freshman day of service. But there are many kinds of service. Think about the Peace Corps. For the last 3 years in a row, George Washington sent more students to the Peace Corps than any other university of our size. Since its creation in 1961, more than 1,100 George Washington University students have participated, including 78 new Peace Corps volunteers in the last year alone. The largest single employer for graduating students from George Washington is Teach for America, and GW students created a new AmeriCorps service project, the Neighbors Project, in 1993. Today is our 4th Freshman Day of Service. It was created in 2009, and that was the day on which First Lady Michelle Obama issued a challenge to our university that if we perform 100,000 hours that academic year, she would give the commencement speech at our graduation ceremonies. Well, in fact, we did 163,980 hours. Not that anyone was counting. And that tradition has continued to grow. The very next year, we exceeded that number and completed over 250,000 hours. And we're going to see this continue to grow every year. Today, you will become part of our legacy of service as more than 2,400 students, faculty, and staff participate in the Freshman Day of Service. But I hope and I know this will just be the start of your commitment to serve, whether in Washington, D.C. or elsewhere in the nation or the world, that you will find your passion, you will continue to serve, and you'll continue to find ways of connecting your service with everything you are learning in the classroom. So I offer best wishes to all of you as you fan out across this city to participate in beautification projects at 14 schools, engage in service activities for veterans at Vincent Hall and the Armed Forces Retirement Home, as you go to 9 parks and serve in nonprofit and community centers. Your service will be far-reaching across our region, in all 8 wards, as I said, and in Virginia. So class of 2016, I almost said 1916, it's not that long. Class of 2016, I look forward to serving with you today and to accompanying you for the next 4 years on the academic journey you are now beginning. Good luck and best wishes to you all.
Thank you, President Knapp. We ask that you please turn your attention to the Jumbotron and video screens for an introduction to your Freshman Day of Service.
Welcome, class of 2016, to your Freshman Day of Service. The Center for Civic Engagement and Public Service is excited to have you here on Freshman Day of Service and all throughout the year. We have so many opportunities for you to get involved in service in the community.
Welcome to Freshman Day of Service. I'm excited to be serving with you side by side in the class of 2016. It's a long history that GW has with service, and I've been happy to be part of it for the last 25 years. Congratulations, freshmen.
As a senior at GW, it's been a great opportunity to work on Freshman Day of Service for the past few years, and I'm so excited to see all of you here today to serve alongside each other, our faculty and staff, across all 8 wards of Washington, D.C., in Virginia and Maryland.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Class of 2016, thank you for serving.
Today, we welcome you to start the 4-year journey you're about to begin of becoming citizens and leaders in a 21st century society where you're here not just to learn about making an individual difference in your life, but in making an impact on the greater good of the global society.
Today, you'll be pulling invasive species, you'll be painting, you'll be putting together libraries, cleaning out closets, and helping to beautify the District of Columbia and beyond.
Come visit us at Colonial Crossroads to find out how you can get more involved in other service opportunities like DC Reads, Jumpstart, the Neighbors Project, Adopt a Family, and MLK Day of Service.
Class of 2016, let's go serve.
Let's go serve.
Let's go serve.
Let's go serve.
Class of 2016, let's go serve.
And now, would you please welcome your student body president, Ashwin Narla.
How's it going? All right, come on now. It's Day of Service right now. We gotta be a little bit more pumped up. How's it going? Here we go. Good morning. It's great to join you as the MC for the Convocation in the 4th Annual Freshman Day of Service in honor of the National Day of Service and Remembrance. This is actually my 4th Freshman Day of Service, and I'm really fortunate to be up here to talk to you guys today. Yeah, thank you. As the newest members of our GW community, I encourage you to incorporate service to your daily life. Working for you as part of the Student Association has been a constantly rewarding experience for me, and I'm looking forward to get to know all of you and looking forward for a great year ahead. But I'm not alone. Service leadership is prominent here at the university. Today, I have a lot of friends out in the crowd too. We have a lot of service leaders here. We have over 175 student leaders, and we really should give them a hand. And all the service leaders stand up. Go ahead and stand up. No? There we go. Yeah. All of our speakers on stage have a history of public service. Joining President Knapp, Provost Lerman, and I are Donna Brazil, Vice Chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee, Deborah Ratner-Salzberg, President of Forest City, Washington, and a member of the GW Board of Trustees, and Stan Soloway, Board Member from the Corporation for National and Community Service. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Stan Soloway.
Ashwin, thank you very much. It's a great honor to be back here again. I had the pleasure of being here last year, and I get to repeat this year what I said last year, which is this is the largest day of service of any college in the United States of America. So congratulations. It's a tribute to President Knapp's vision for turning the freshman convocation and combining it into a day of service, the leadership of Amy Cohen, Provost Lerman, and so many others. And it's a great privilege to be a part of it, to be on the stage with the incomparable Donna Brazil, with Deborah Ratner-Salzberg of the trustees and president of Forest City, Washington. But most important, it's all about you guys and what you're going to do today and what you're going to do over the next several years. There is no better or more honorable way to begin your college career than to begin in service to others. You're joining today hundreds of thousands of volunteers over the next several days. We're going to be paying tribute to the victims and heroes of 9/11 by serving their various communities. There was an amazing spirit of unity that swept across the nation in the days and weeks and months following that tragic day. And it was in that spirit that the families and friends who lost loved ones proposed the idea to make September 11th anniversary not only a day of reflection and memory, but a day to make our nation stronger in every way. And that idea grew. Since then, since 2009, September 11th has been a national day of service and remembrance. And the Corporation for National Community Service, the federal agency that engages millions of Americans in service through AmeriCorps and other programs, is charged with supporting and helping lead this effort across the country. And that's what brings me here today as a member of the board. And I am just incredibly proud to see how far this idea has come, especially when I look out at all of you guys. But I think there's also another anniversary that's worth remembering today. And Donna and I were talking about this backstage. As President Knapp said in his remarks earlier, you're witnessing and in the midst of the last stages of a presidential election at a time when I think we're all very dispirited about the state of politics in America. 4 years ago, many people don't remember, weeks before the election, Senator McCain and Senator Obama came to New York. They took the day off from the campaign trail and spent an evening with a lot of people at Columbia University celebrating the idea and ethic of national service. Two men, rivals for the presidency, literally only 3 weeks from their election, put it all aside to talk about the one thread that unites us all, service. And that's what you're here today and what you're all about. Your generation, and I'm at that age now where I actually talk in those terms, which makes me crazy, but your generation has answered that call and has driven that belief in service. Whether at home, abroad, military, AmeriCorps, the Peace Corps, and any other way, service has hit peaks that no one could ever dreamed of, let alone imagined. Last year, 3 million college students like you dedicated more than 312 million hours of service to their communities. Right now, tens of thousands of young people across the country are serving as mentors, teachers, tutors, building homes, protecting the environment, and much more. And just last week, literally within hours of Hurricane Isaac, more than 100 AmeriCorps members were on the ground in 4 states ready to help, with 1,000 others ready to go if needed. Applications to AmeriCorps have nearly tripled. The message is loud and clear. You want to be the change you want to see in the world. You have a desire to make a difference, to be part of something bigger than yourselves. And today, by serving in honor of the victims and heroes of September 11th, you're doing just that. So I hope you will continue to make service a part of your lives for the next 4 years, or if you're on the 5-year plan, the 5 years here at GW, because when you serve, you can find and feel the difference that you can make. When you serve, when you roll up your sleeves and begin to understand to help meet the needs of others, you are gaining the best education and experience there is in life. You're not just shaping a better today, but a better tomorrow for all of us. You're already on the right track, As you well know, GW is not only a great academic institution, but you have a president who's a visionary in this area and is driving service at GW as an integral part of your experience here. Take advantage of it, enjoy it, have some fun, and most of all, make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Holloway, for being here this second time in a row. It's a pleasure to have you as part of our celebration today. I'm now delighted to welcome our next speaker, Donna Brazile, back to campus. Ms. Brazile is a veteran political strategist who began her career, believe it or not, at the age of 9, when she campaigned for a city council candidate in Kenner, Louisiana, who promised to build a playground in her neighborhood. For 4 decades, and innumerable state and local campaigns after that, she's worked on every presidential campaign from 1976 to 2000, when as campaign manager for Vice President Al Gore, she became the first African-American woman to run a presidential campaign. Currently, Donna Brazile serves as the Democratic National Committee Vice Chair for voter registration. She's also an adjunct professor at Georgetown University, a syndicated columnist for Roll Call and Ms. Magazine, and author of the best-selling autobiography, Cooking with Grease, Stirring the Pot in American Politics. Great title, I think you'll agree. And she is also the founder and managing director of Brazile & Associates, LLC, a Washington-based general consulting, grassroots advocacy, and training firm. Finally, Donna Brazile is here today to help us launch our Freshman Day of Service because, in addition to her own career in public service, she is passionate about encouraging all people, and especially younger citizens, to vote, to work with the system to strengthen it, and to run for public office. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Donna Brazile.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, President Knapp, for that gracious and kind introduction. It's a wonderful honor to be back on GW's campus. Let me just tell you something. Although I'm just a few miles away at Georgetown, I'm always here at GW at least once or twice a week, and thank you all for allowing me to come and visit. Ladies and gentlemen, when I drove up this morning, I noticed the attire, and I just want to let y'all know that they had one in my size. Thank you all for that. Kind of special this morning, I get a chance to put on a freshman t-shirt after wearing a Republican t-shirt 2 weeks ago and a Democratic t-shirt last week. I had the opportunity to dance to the Gatlin Brothers in Tampa and, of course, dance to Mary J. Blige in Charlotte. Now, some of you all might not know this because I don't look my age, 25. Anymore. This gray hair is just some fake stuff I use when I'm on CNN. But, ladies and gentlemen, I moved to Washington, D.C. 31 years ago this weekend. After 4 years at LSU, just want to make sure, any Louisianians in the house? Who that? Any Louisianians? All right, we got a couple. Just remember every Monday to have your red beans and rice, and if you cannot find any etouffee or any other our wonderful dishes, just call me. I'm listed. I know what happens to Louisianians if you allow them to go without all of our delicious 4 seasons. And I'm not talking about winter, spring, summer, and fall. I'm talking about shrimp, crabs, oysters, and crawfish. If they don't get that at least once or twice a year, ladies and gentlemen, I know you all are freshmen, they will not be happy. So just say, call Donna, she'll have something made for you by the end of the day. We stir up a roux every day, so God bless you from Louisiana. I hope your family okay. And Hurricane Isaac, which dipped, you know, Hurricane Isaac spent 4 days in Louisiana. Here's my theory. You know, these storms leave the hot desert of Africa, get into the cool waters of the Atlantic, and by the time they get to Florida, the Key West, they say, oh, this is warm water. I'm having a good time in Florida. And then the storms look along the eastern coast of Florida, the west coast, and say, boring. Where's New Orleans? It's not fair. Not fair. Not fair. And of all times to come to New Orleans, you know, come and visit us during Mardi Gras. We can push you back. But they came during Decadent Weekend. I don't like that. So next time, please, when you see the storms, tell them, go somewhere else. All right? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today because I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you're going to spend this day in service to others. I'm proud that you're going to do it here in my adopted hometown of Washington, D.C. When I came here 31 years ago this weekend on the Amtrak train, I only had $150 that I borrowed from one of my younger sisters. And she said, Donna, here's $150, don't come back home. Well, you can imagine with 9 brothers and sisters, Cheryl, Sheila, Donna, Tater, Chet, Lisa, Demetri, Kevin, Zola, when one person left the house, they said, don't come back. So I came here, and ladies and gentlemen, I had a great opportunity to serve. I basically had an opportunity to work on the bill to make Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday. And you know how we did that? We did that because there were men and women like yourselves, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, college students all across America who signed petitions, called their legislators. And of course, they made a phone call, and then they decided to come to Washington, D.C. to march. 2 years after I arrived in Washington, D.C., and I organized at the age of 22. So I don't want anybody to tell you that you cannot do good things or great things by the age of 21 or 22 or 16 or 17 or 18 or 19. 2 years afterwards, I was at the White House with Ronald Reagan when he signed into law legislation creating the Martin Luther King National Holiday. I know from my own experience that one person can make a difference. I know from my own experience that every one of you here can make a difference in the lives of others, especially those that you decide to help and serve. I had an opportunity when I was also very young to work for an incredible woman. She was the first black woman elected to the United States House of Representatives, the Honorable Shirley Chisholm. And Mrs. Chisholm, we called her Miss C, she used to say to us, service is the rent we pay for living on this planet. Service is the rent we pay for living on this planet. Today, you're going to start paying your rent on this planet. Now, I know for many of you today, this is your first time that you've been in Washington, D.C. How many first-timers in Washington, D.C.? There you go, a few of you. Welcome. You'll love this city. This city represents not just the promise of a college education, but an adventure of a lifetime. You're going to learn that D.C. is more than just beautiful marble monuments. The Capitol, the White House, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial. Visit all of them. But D.C. is a city of remarkable neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that you will get to know starting today. Anacostia, Brookland, Petworth, Foggy Bottoms, of course, where you are right now. Crestwood, where I live. Capitol Hill, where I started my career as an intern and later as a student organizer. This is a beautiful city, made up of men and women from all parts of the world. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, like the world we live in, this is a city that's always struggling to accept others, to bring others into the community. So today, you're going to form out to wonderful parts of our great and amazing city. And you're going to help those who really need a helping hand. And you're going to go and fix up and help make beautiful some of our wonderful and most treasured schools, auditoriums, senior citizen facilities, and other places. You are going to make a difference today, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you, as somebody who's a resident of this wonderful city, when you leave those places, you know what I like to hear when I go and visit? You know, those kids came over from George Washington. They were nice. They were kind. They were beautiful. People really appreciate the fact that you're visiting them. It's really humbling to have you come by and help. So I want you to know that this is something good for not just you, but also the community. We appreciate it. We thank you. And you know what? This is just the beginning of your journey, because we want you to do this throughout your 4 years here. Now, I got out of LSU in 4 years, but let me tell you, as a niece of 17, as an aunt of 17 nieces and nephews, I always say, Auntie Donna will help you the first 4 years. After that, you're on your own. But I'm telling you, today is your journey. Today is your beginning. And I hope you enjoy the experience. And I hope you bring something that will, at least, you can write down the names and the addresses of the people so that you can go back again and again and again. Now, I'm going to tell you something about the neighborhood here in Washington, D.C. Some are very, very, very poor. Some are very well off. But most of them are in the middle, in between, or in transition. And so when you go to some of these neighborhoods, just remember that some people are still hurting from the Great Recession of 2007. And though they may not look you in the eye, they will feel your spirit when you show up. And so when you walk in those neighborhoods and when you visit the facilities, please say something about not yourself, not only yourself, but why you are there, because that will give them encouragement, and that will also lift them up as well. The other thing I want to tell you from some of the lessons I've learned and about the things that I've understood about being here for the last 3 decades, and that is, no matter how noble your ambitions, and I'm sure all of you all have ambitions, because you didn't just come to this great school just to watch the basketball team, because I do that too. But your ambitions, the things that you desire to do with your own lives, no matter the virtue or the cause that you will one day advocate for, or the truth of the vision for America, you're never going to get a seat on the metro if you're not willing to stand up for something. You're going to have to believe in something. And the way that I want you to start this journey is believe in who you are, know who you are, and know that there's a place on this planet for you and a place for you to serve, not only today, but throughout the rest of your life. Now, another lesson I've learned in living in Washington, D.C. is, and I want to just remind you of this, because I hope to see you over the next 4 years. But remember, D.C. is a city that uses traffic circles. You've seen the circles already? We have a lot of traffic circles. Now, the traffic circles are to keep things moving in Washington, D.C. by moving in circles. A lot of people just keep moving in circles in Washington, D.C. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, what goes around comes around. Sometimes a traffic jam is God's way of making you fix a flat tire. But I want you to keep this circle in mind, because I want you every now and then to step outside your comfort zone. Step outside the circles and go and reach out and reach back. So that's a lesson that I've learned, to keep stepping out, to keep moving, and keep believing in what your dreams are and pursue them. I want to also say that today, when George Washington celebrates its 100th year, they're doing so by showcasing you, by beginning this as a day of service and a day to give back. So a university like this university, located in our nation's capital, celebrates its first century with a day of service. Remember that as a lesson that you will always keep in your hearts over the next 4 years. So I want to just say, service is important, not just because of the positive effect it generates for others. When we serve others, of course, we're giving them a hand up. We're improving the civil society for everyone. But the act of service itself is an important exercise in meditation, prayer if you like. When you leave this campus to serve others, what you're really doing is leaving your own comfort zone. You're leaving the daily routine that you will take for granted one day and all of the trappings of a lifestyle you've come to know. And so you are consciously choosing to expose yourselves to the way others live and the challenges they face. And sometimes this reminds you of your blessings. Sometimes it teaches you that what you share with others is important, but it will always make you a better person. So let me just say this in closing. Beneath all of the politics, the statesmanship, the stagecraft of the American political system, this city still beats with a powerful heart. There's a strong spirit here in our nation's capital, and I want you to get to know that. From U Street, the site of the Black Broadway and the 1968 riots, to Anacostia in Southeast, this is a city of transition and a city of opportunity, full of schools that need volunteers, workplace training centers in need of advisors, young people in need of mentors, and immigrants in need of learning English. Don't assume that just because a college campus has everything you need to live, dorms, a student center, and of course your classrooms, that you really lived if you never leave this campus. So get away from that circle. This is the day that your journey begins, and you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy your experience here on campus and in this great and remarkable city. And in a few short years, as your undergraduate experience comes to a close, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot from the people you serve. And before some of you head off to a job at the State Department just down the road, or God forbid, become a lobbyist, whatever that is, before you spend 3 or 4 years of important and life-changing learning in a classroom, before you even begin or even finish unpacking your dorm room, spend this day, hopefully, and many more days like today, serving other people. Serve because others haven't been given the opportunities you have. Serve because you know what it's like to fight for opportunity. Serve because improving this country means rolling up your sleeves and committing yourselves to the labor of shared learning and shared sacrifice. Serve because if you don't, who will? And when you look back again on this time and the months and years ahead, even after you graduate, you'll know that you paid up your rent. And you'll remember how it felt to come to a new place with all of the goals and dreams and fire and passion that people your age inspire us every day. I just want to let you know that I've tweeted a couple of times about this experience. I'm going to tweet all day. You know I do tweet. I'm on Facebook. Al Gore invented the internet, so I have to follow through. You'll remember, ladies and gentlemen, you'll remember in your heart that you paused on one day in September to reach out a hand, to help someone in need. And you'll be glad that you did it. And you'll remember, because you made the world just a better place, and you made this city a wonderful place to live and spend the rest of your life. So thank you all. God bless you for serving. God bless you for paying your rent today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brazil. I think you're the only person that can make a room full of people happy about paying rent, that's for sure. Our next speaker is Trustee Deborah Ratner-Salzberg, is president of the Forest City, Washington, and director of Forest City Enterprises, a national real estate firm active in property development, management, and ownership and acquisition. Trustee Ratner-Salzberg began her career with Forest City in 1985 as worked on the development of numerous retail, residential, commercial, and multi-use projects from the adaptive reuse of old tobacco warehouses in Richmond. I'm from Richmond, that's pretty awesome. To a life science and residential park in Baltimore. Previously, she was a trial attorney in the Civil Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. Among her many professional and charitable activities, she holds board memberships and other leadership positions with such organizations as the Mayer Foundation, the District of Columbia Building Industry Council, the Foundation of the National Archives, the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington, Kenyon College, and the Women's Forum of Washington, D.C. Earlier this year, she was appointed by D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray to co-chair the district's Comprehensive Housing Strategy Task Force, a group of business and community leaders who assist the district with creating and identifying affordable residential housing. Please welcome Trustee Deborah Ratner-Salzberg.
Thank you, Ashwin, and thank you for being between myself and Ms. Brazil. I am here today before you, and I'm honored to be with you representing the Board of Trustees of George Washington University. Thank you, Donna and Stan, for your very inspiring remarks. I am a proud graduate of George Washington University Columbian College of Arts and Sciences. Hey. Over 30 years ago, the culture of service and community engagement is what attracted me to George Washington University as a student. My classmates and I served in many capacities. We volunteered on the Hill. I worked as an intern for a United States Senator, working on legislation for the disabled. It was the precursor for the American with Disabilities Act. We worked with DC law students in court as student investigators, and we tutored. My service allowed me to explore all 4 quadrants of the city, to meet people from all walks of life, and it enriched my educational experience beyond measure. As an alumna, I'm proud to see the culture of service grow into a tradition, one that all students now experience when beginning their undergraduate studies. And I encourage you to continue the tradition of service to others throughout your career here. I hope that you too will combine your service with your experience in the classroom and help to meet the most pressing challenges of our city and our society. Take on internships, participate in student organizations. Make today's Freshman Day of Service the first of many service experiences that you have as a colonial. And as you represent the university, make us proud. Introduce yourself, not just to your fellow classmates, but to those who have graciously accepted our offer to serve. Make yourself an active citizen of both GW and the DC community. For as Albert Schweitzer said, I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know, the only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. I look forward to joining you in service today, and many of you I will be working with at Orr Elementary School in Ward 8. Thank you.
So thank you, Trustee Salzberg, and of course all of our speakers today who have given their wisdom to us. In a few moments, Ashwin will begin dismissing you to your service sites. But first, please rise together as a class, the class of 2016, and remain at your seats as we have the academic procession. And during the recession, as the Spirit so moves you, please join us all in singing the GW Fight Song for your first time in the Smith Center.